afternoon, Rip City. Welcome into Trail Blazers Game Day. Chris Burkhardt here with you, getting you ready for Blazers versus Nuggets. Game 1 of 2 to be played in the Mile High City before the All-Star break. Can the Blazers rebound, no pun intended, from the terrible loss that they had in Minnesota just a few nights ago? And I'll tell you what, the reason I say it was a terrible loss wasn't just a normal loss, and it had nothing to do with the fact that it ended the 6-game win streak, right, and put a halt to the whole, like, they've won 10 of their last 11. You know, and guess what? 10 of your last 12 still not bad either. But it was terrible in the way it went down. Because the Blazers did not look anything like they had looked during that 11-game stretch. They did not lock in defensively. Offensively, it was a struggle. Coach talked about it post-game about how, you he's just kind of lost that game in the first half because, we didn't lock in basically. And we can't take any team for granted because they didn't have Julius Randle. They didn't have Anthony Edwards, right? And we've seen this messaging before, which is the bad part, right? When they got, boat raced by Utah. Yeah, Lowry didn't start, and it kind of threw us off, right? So we have heard this before. I don't know why they didn't get locked in. Sometimes it happens. But you know what? They looked really good for that 11 games. And so you would hope that anything they learned from that stretch, they can absolutely turn around and lock back in for these 2 games in Denver, right? And in those 2 games, same thing that goes into Minnesota. If you take the loss, it's okay. To me, right now, it's all about how you play. And that game in Minnesota, for the first time in, about 2 weeks, the way they played wasn't great. And it wasn't very fun to watch. And again, you hope that they can turn that around tonight in Denver against a Denver Nugget team that we all know how good they can be and how good their star is, right? I mean, come on now. This is going to be rough. But if you remember correctly, Denver did come to Portland earlier this year, and Portland got the upset victory, right? So Portland knows that it's there. They know that they can get it done. And that 11-game stretch that they did have kind of proved that when this team is firing all cylinders and locked in, and that's key, locked in, they can go toe-to-toe with a lot of teams, right? Now, there's various reasons why they won those games on that stretch. You can talk about the teams who came into Portland on the second nights of the back-to-back and what team was missing who and whatnot, but it doesn't matter. It's the NBA. Winning 6 games in a row, winning 10 of 11, that's hard to do, especially when you're a team like Portland who is still in rebuild mode, right? So it was good that they went on that run. Not good that the way it stopped was literally they just rammed into the brick wall. There was no ease up. Okay, so now you hope that they can get out from that, shake that off, and just get back in the right direction of playing good basketball. That's all you're looking for. Good basketball. Now, they did go to Minnesota. The final score in that one, it was 114-98. And the Blazers had a lead at halftime. Things were looking good, but then the wheels fell off quickly in the third quarter. And then in that fourth quarter, it was absolutely abysmal. Minnesota outscored Portland 38-14 in that quarter, which is made extra awful considering that Portland had a quarter that they too scored 38 points. So you knew the offense was there, but then all of a sudden it just could not get anything going in that fourth quarter. And a couple of head-scratching moments. Jeremy Grant making some boneheaded turnovers that really cost the team late. He ended the night with 4 turnovers, and he had 3 of them in that fourth quarter. So you got to figure out what you're doing there. There was a lot of debate of why didn't Denny have the ball? Why didn't Ant or Scoot have the ball in their hand? They should have been in those situations. Jeremy was kind of pressing the issue, had those turnovers, led to easy Minnesota buckets, and really helped change the momentum, right? Now, you look at the box score side of things. Let's do that real quick. What do you do when you don't have Anthony Edwards and you don't have Julius Randle and you don't have Mike Conley? You lead on some other pretty good vets that you have, like Naz Reid, who has showed up many a time for this team. He went 9 of 16 from the floor at 23 points, 8 boards. Jaden McDaniels, 30 points, 10 rebounds, 4 assists. So very good night for him. 15 points, 11 rebounds, and a block shot for Rudy Gobert. And Trailblazers legend Nickeil Alexander-Walker, 21 points, 5 rebounds, and 6 assists. Jalen Clark also had 11 off the bench. So it was a good scoring distribution out of Minnesota. And again, just a rough night because they're getting the shots to fall. They shot 52% from the floor, 37 or 35% from beyond the arc. Went to the free throw line 28 times. Portland, on the other hand, shot 40% from the floor, 20% from beyond the arc. And in today's NBA, going 7 of 35 is just not going to cut it. Now, it's not as if Minnesota made a ton more three-pointers. They only made 10, but they only took 28. So that percentage is up there, and they were just doing work in the paint and getting to the bucket with ease. On the Blazers side of things, Jeremy Grant, he was 5 of 15 from the floor, 2 rebounds and assists, 14 points, and those 4 turnovers. Tumani Kamara, 8 points, 7 rebounds, 0 assists. In a rare game where like he still felt like he was locked in, but it wasn't a Tumani Kamara game. And you know what? When you have been locked in and playing well all the time, you're allowed to have an off night. And that was a rare, just felt like all around off night for Tumani Kamara. He finished the night a team worst, minus 28. Although we know plus minus is not the best attribute, but it is something we can definitely look at. It tells part of the story. He was a negative 28. 6 points, 14 rebounds for DeAndre Ayton, who we talked about after the game. Needs to find ways to get more involved. I have found that this team tends to be at its best when he is involved offensively right now, and getting just 6 shot attempts ain't it. You need to find a way to get him going and be extremely involved in that offense. I think the offense is at its best when he is, right? And a lot of that is finding ways to get Scoot on the floor with him, because he and Scoot play really, really well off each other. 21 points from Anthony Simons to lead all Trailblazers scores. 8 points from Denny Avdia, who has had a recent stretch of poor play. We've seen the ups and downs from him this year. Plenty more ups than downs, but this wasn't a good game for him. 14 points for Shaden Sharp, and then Scoot Henderson. He had 12 points. And he had just 3 assists, so you would like to see that number get up. I will be happy that he only had 2 turnovers, which is pretty good. 9 points, 3 rebounds for Chris Murray, who continues to be very, very good in the minutes he's asked to play. He's not breaking box scores or making you go crazy, but I just love the fact that every time he's asked to play minutes, he plays them well. He plays them well. Doesn't make a lot of mistakes, which is pretty much all you can ask for, man. Robert Williams played 8 minutes. He had 6 points in this one, and the bad part was he went out with a knee injury, did not return. It was nothing that the team or anyone was worried about after the game. But as many people noted, including Jason Quick noted after the game, the fact that he's missed a lot of games this year, but hasn't missed many due to the knee, right? Hasn't missed any, in fact, due to the knee injuries. And the knees have kept him out of action in his career, right? Having the ACL tears and all that. So having an injury flare up of the knee can be a little bit concerning if you're a Blazers fan, right? If you're a Blazer fan, you want to definitely watch that one, and we'll see where he goes today. Coach did say, they kept him out more out of the abundance of caution, right? Abundance of caution kept him out. They didn't know if it was worth the risk to try to replay him. Now, the last injury update we did get, he's listed as questionable for tonight's game with right knee soreness. Matisse Thybulle, Justin Medaya, and Sidi Sissoko, the brand new player that they just acquired out of San Antonio, are listed as out. And we'll get updates on Robert Williams as soon as we can. In fact, you all should be making sure you are following our Trailblazers insider, Sean Highkin, because Sean is actually on the road tonight in Denver. He's on this road trip, which is pretty cool. So he was in Minnesota, and he's in Denver today as well. So you go follow him on social at Highkin. Sounds just like it's spelled Highkin, at Highkin, and get all the latest info from Sean live in Denver. Now, again, just a rough game. Defensively not locked in, and I think that was more so what did this team in, because they have been so good on the defensive end throughout this run and really showing how they can knock teams off, that on a night when they don't, it makes it very easy for the whole thing to wobble and then just get off the rails, right? So tonight in Denver, I think that needs to be the focus. The focus doesn't need to be make your shots and take it. It just needs to be lock in defensively, right? Do everything you can defense. If Jokic goes off and whatever, it's okay as long as you're locked in. Because I think if the Blazers are locked in defensively, they're not going to get thrown off their game. And that game in Minnesota, not being locked in, threw them off their game. And speaking of defense and what it led to in this game and where it was or where it wasn't, Anthony Simons had a chance to talk about that after the game.
Obviously, we was playing pretty well. At the half, we was up 13. We knew that we wasn't playing our best, but we'll take it. We were up 13, and guys gonna come and play hard. They got set out, so we knew they was gonna come and play hard, and we was up 13, and it just didn't, it really didn't feel like it. You know what I mean? How because we felt like we wasn't playing that well. But in my head, I was just, we'll take it. You know what I mean? We on a win streak. You know what I mean? Every game ain't gonna look pretty. You know what I mean? We just take it. But that kind of carried on to the fourth quarter, and we couldn't make no shots. I think defensively they was making some pretty tough shots. Obviously they made some wide open looks, but they made some tough shots as well. So I think we play good enough to give us a chance to win the game. I mean, them having 93 points for like 7 minutes left, we'll take it. You know what I mean? We playing good enough defense to stay in the game. You know what I mean? We just couldn't make any shots. You know what I mean?
What do you think? Do you think you guys were taking some good shots early in the game? Chauncey said early.
No, I didn't. Yeah, I think we weren't taking quality shots how we usually do. But that was one of the emphasis we tried to shore up in the second half, and some of them was good, some of them wasn't. I think it was a little bit better in the second half than the first, but like I said, we just couldn't make any shots when we finally got some good looks, and so I think that was the tell of the game. They hit shots when they needed to, and we didn't.
They hit shots when they needed to, and we didn't. That was the tail of the game. I think it went deeper than that, though. It was that defense, that not being locked in on defense, definitely hurt. All right, this is Blazers Game Day. If you want to follow the conversation, go to youtube.com, type in Rip City Radio. You can join the conversation there. You can also follow us on social. You can follow me at Chris J. Burkhardt. You can follow super producer Brendan Slaughter over there at B_slot. Now, B, he's got a job. I told him right before he went on the air. Brendan, I need you to think of where we're going for dinner after this because I'm hungry. That's important work. That is producer work. It makes sense to me. All right. And of course, 503-248-0620 is the telephone number. When we come back, we're going to head to the coach's corner, hear what Coach Billups had to say following that loss to the Minnesota Timberwolves. This is Blazers Game Day presented by Coors Light on your home of the Blazers, Rip City Radio 620. Welcome back into Blazers Game Day. Chris Burkhardt here with you. Joined by my man, Brendan Slaughter. And Brendan, I know you got some time to talk about it with Chad in your limited hour there, the Rose State Drive. But I was asked all week leading up. I'm sure you were asked by all your friends, everybody, who do you got in the Super Bowl? Who you got in the Super Bowl? I was Team Eagles. I was on the Eagle train. I thought Saquon was going to be the X factor. That's what I told everybody. He ended up not being as much of an X factor as we thought. But boy, howdy, I have never seen Patrick Mahomes and company manhandled like that.
Within the first 2 drives of the game, I looked at my buddy and I said, this is Mahomes versus Brady in the COVID Super Bowl all over again. Because the only time, take away the AFC Championship loss to Brady and the AFC Championship loss to Joe Burrow, which were great games. There was only one other time that Patrick Mahomes was annihilated, and that was when Tampa Bay decided, hey, we're going to win a Super Bowl at home, we're going to blitz you a ton, and you're going to be on your back. And we saw what the Chiefs did after that, but it was so the same, but even worse, because I think this Philly team, better than that Tampa Bay team, that was just a wild card team and found their stride that year. So,
Right.
you know, I don't think it takes anything away from, Mahomes' greatness,
Heck no.
but it quiets the notion, Chris, that everybody was, if he won this game, everybody was ready to anoint him as better than Tom Brady. Tom Brady never got blown out in a Super Bowl.
This is
never.
This is an interesting point you make, because I think the GOAT debate took a little bit of a hit, and not because he lost, but because how he lost. Because not even getting dominated. You can get dominated in the game, and it's not the quarterback's fault. I've just never seen Patrick Mahomes look like Chad said it best. He was seeing ghosts.
He was.
He was seeing ghosts. It was interesting, but shout out to Philly and Saquon. I was rooting for Saquon.
And
Hurts
Chris,
looked
how
great,
much money,
oh.
and I'm curious, did Fox lose? Because there was a dedicated Brendan, a dedicated producer in a truck somewhere where his sole job was to have a camera on Taylor Swift and be like, all right, guys, she's cheering, she's this, she's... They went to her maybe one time because there was nothing to go to her for.
Oh, to be fair,
and I mean, that alone, just like...
Kelsey wasn't...
Like the
Kelsey
over-under
played
on the
bad, like-
Swiftie shots, Chris, I would have been like at least 5, and we got like 1. So just
what's-
crazy, man.
What's interesting too, little situations in that game that a game can flip. Like I know Kelsey had a drop pass, which was weird, but had Hopkins caught that ball, he had green. It would have been a touchdown. I mean, a little crazy things, but
Penalties. There were some weird penalties early in that game.
It was the super soft ball.
Yeah, the phantom
Super soft
pass
bowl.
interference, then the phantom
yeah.
unnecessary roughness. You're like, okay, come on, guys.
See, but now we're officially in one of the worst parts of the sports calendar, and that is waiting again till football starts again. Like college football nerds like you and I are like, we can get through with a little bit of NFL. Gives us our football kick. But now there's no football. That's all right. This allows us to focus all of our energy on basketball, baby. That's
Rip
what it's
City.
about. I love it. People like, oh, you love I love the NBA. I love it. And now we're officially in NBA season now. All-Star break, and then we hit. And speaking of NBA, Brendan, it's time to get to the Coach's Corner.
For the latest on tonight's lineup, injuries, and matchup, let's head to the Coach's Corner with Chauncey Billups.
All right, let's get in that DeLorean, get it up to 88 miles an hour. Go back in time, hear what Coach Billups had to say following that 114-98 loss to Minnesota.
I mean, the fourth quarter was awful. It was a rough quarter, but we lost the game, I thought, in the first half. In the first quarter, to be honest with you. I just didn't think we played we took some really, really difficult shots when we didn't need to, knowing that this is a big time defensive team. And ball movement, offensive energy, we talked about was going to be critical. And we settled for some tough shots. And it threw our chemistry off a little bit, So it was long before the fourth quarter. I mean, we were up 13 at the half, and I literally felt like we was down 12, 14 points, just the way the game was going. The fourth quarter was rough, Brooke, but it wasn't the fourth quarter.
Did you sense there was maybe a lack of communication? Because that's something that's been such a strength of yours over this past streak.
Well, I don't know if it was a lack of communication. It may have been a little bit of that, because I didn't think it was very good defensively either, locking into certain guys, we knew that Nas Reed and Jaden Daniels were going to try to go for it. I just don't think we took them serious enough. And this is what happens, when you don't take people serious enough. These are, just because a guy plays a certain role when the star players are there doesn't mean that he can't go do, get 30, and we didn't quite believe that today in our team. And so we got taught a tough lesson.
So you think for the whole game you guys didn't play well defense because you held them under 30 in the first 3 quarters?
Yeah, I thought the defense was just okay, to be honest with you. We've been really flying around, and doing a really good job. But, you got to think about what they were missing. They're missing a guy that's had 90 points in the last 2 games. So their offense was going to be different anyway. They're going to try to find other ways to get it. But I just didn't think we were in sync like we have been. And that hurt us on both sides of the ball.
Did you think that in the fourth quarter, you guys not making shots, do you think that kind of affected on the defensive side?
I do. And I thought that way most of the way, to be honest with you. We didn't make shots. I mean, I think in the first quarter it was 1 for 9 from 3. I mean, it just kind of, when you go 7 for 35, it's tough. It's tough to win any game in the league anymore that way. So obviously that always has an impact. What happened with Rob? I think it just something came down kind of funny. I'm not sure what the diagnosis is and whatnot, but we just felt like playing him anymore wouldn't be healthy.
Oh man, yeah, that's. I'm laughing because my wife always gets me. She cracks me up with her in-show text messages. She's like, "You weren't rooting for the Eagles or the Chiefs. You were Team Pizza Bites." Brendan, my daughter, my littlest, my 2-year-old.
Yeah.
We had pizza bites on one plate, tater tots on the other, and she'd grab a pizza bite and a tater tot, and she'd go, "Here you go, Dad, Mom," and she'd give me the pizza bite and Mom the tater tot. And we weren't even done eating. She turned back around, grabbed one. Here you go. And so you just had to keep eating them because at one point I told her, "No, it's okay. Dad's okay." And she cried. She got upset. And so she'd turn around, my mom, it looked like pizza bites and tater tots were falling from the sky because when she turned her head, we'd drop them back on the plate real quick because our stomachs were getting too full. But I ate at least twice as many pizza bites as I intended because my daughter kept handing them to me so sweetly. And, I'm not made of stone. Dad's got to make baby happy here. And Dad, there you go. Dad, here you go.
That's awesome.
Just
That's
nonstop.
awesome, man. You live for those moments.
Have you seen Wreck-It Ralph and Ralph Breaks the Internet? The little hidden scene, the whole was it the bunny gets the pancake or whatever it is. That's what my wife said we were. We were about to explode like the bunny does in Wreck-It Ralph. It was quite intense. But hey, you gotta love that Super Bowl snacking. Now, as Coach Billups said there, he did think that some of the missed shots and not getting in a rhythm offensively led to the defense just being out of whack a little bit. And, I could take his word for it. He is the coach. He understands that. I still feel that this team is at its best when the defense is the focus and the defense gets locked in. Because if you lock in defensively, then you're going to be the team who's taking advantage of the other team not making shots. And the Blazers offense tends to be at its best as well when you get those rebounds and you get the ball to Denny and you get Denny out in space and you get him rolling, right? So make your shots. That sounds all good and dandy, right? Because it is a provable fact that the team who scores more points wins, right? So, and you got that you score points on offense, right? But you also stop a team from scoring when you lock in defensively, and that is the Blazers' strength right now. Offense is not its strength. Focus on defense, get locked in, and I think you can rebound tonight against the Nuggets. Does it mean it's going to be a win? You'll find out at the end of the game, but rebounding in this aspect doesn't mean rebounding getting back in the win column. Means rebounding and playing competent, good basketball again, and hope that game against Minnesota was more of a one-off, which I think it was, and I hope that we're proven right tonight in Denver. Also, Denver, media dining so-so, but they do have a fire on the mountain in Denver, and I always go there, Brendan, and people are like, "Why do you go to a place you can go to in Portland?" I go, "Because it tastes better when I'm not paying for it." That's just factual.
Yeah, that's true.
Plus, it's easier to get to when you're bored and you're in your hotel room. Fire on the Mountain is nowhere close to my house, so sometimes I'm like, oh, I'm not driving a half hour for food. But when you're on the road, yeah, I'm gonna have to put a detailed list together for you, though, all the best NBA
Oh, I
towns
know,
and why.
man. I'm loving it.
All right, we're gonna take a quick little break here on Blazers Game Day. When we come back, it's time for our Coors Cold Hard Facts. We still have keys to the game to get to as well. Continue to get you ready for Blazers versus Nuggets over in Denver. And of course, keep it locked in here for the next few hours, man, because when this show's done, Chad will have your Trailblazers pregame show across the Trailblazers audio network. Travis Demers will have the radio call of the game right here on Rip City Radio 620 at 6 o'clock. And we still have the fifth quarter tonight. Lots of Blazer coverage, end to end, all here and only on Rip City Radio 620.
Ralph, you might want to try feeding the kitty for a little while.
No, the kitty gets the milkshake. The bunny gets the pancake.
Well done.
It's exactly how I felt when my daughter was just stuffing me with the little pizza bites, man. It was I bought a thing of Oreos too, and my my middle child comes in, Brendan. She comes in, she's like, "Can I have an Oreo?" And then she grabs the Oreos, and they're all gone. Like, we ate the whole thing. She's like, "That is ridiculous. I only had 9."
That's awesome. No, it's funny you say that because when I went to the store yesterday, just to grab a few things before the Super Bowl, and it was, Grand Central out there. But I'm going through and I'm like, oh, I could use a sweet. And I see, and something to keep an eye on, Chris. I'll have to maybe bring one in for you. But Oreo's got a new collab with Post Malone, and it's like a salted caramel spin on an Oreo. Man, it was a hit at my house yesterday. So not only were we enjoying Oreos at your house, Oreos were enjoyed at our house too. So
all right,
just Oreo cred today, I guess.
Super Bowl food, baby. Super Bowl food. All right, Brendan, it's a fact that Oreos are pretty good. So are pizza bites. I don't know if it's a cold hard fact though, because it's time now for our Coors Cold Hard Facts.
It's time for the Cold Hard Facts, presented by Coors Light, Mountain Cold Refreshment. Choose chill, celebrate responsibly.
Oh, Scotty Bethune says, "Hey, come on, Burkhardt. Pitchers and catchers report this week. Let's focus a little bit." That's right. I thought Baseballism had a great email to all their subscribers, of which I am one. They said, "It is the season. It's baseball season now." It's like, yeah. Right as soon as the game ended, they sent that out to their email subs. Well played. Well played. All right, it's time for a cold hard fact, though, and we are breathing down the neck of All-Star break, right? There are 2 games left for your Portland Trailblazers, both tonight and Wednesday against the Denver Nuggets. And I think it's a fact that at least post All-Star break, you get a rest, you come back, that I truly think it's time to pull the plug on the current iteration of the Blazers. Now, you're not pulling a plug on the roster because the roster is what it is, but I think it might be time to say, okay, let's move some things around. Jeremy, you're coming off the bench for a minute. Ant, you might be coming off the bench too, because if you're not truly a part of this team's future, we need to start getting that future ready to go. Okay, I liked the run that they're on. It's great, and I don't think that if you change the lineup, it alters that run. I do think it's time, though, to get Scoot those big lion share of minutes. It's time to get Sharp back in the lineup where he belongs. Maybe up Donovan Klingen's shares of minutes a little bit. He's still not starting caliber yet. I do like DC, but as you've seen during the stretch, he gets exposed a little bit. Offensively, has some holes, but I just want to see the young guys get going now. And I don't think that means that you have to drastically alter your lineup it does mean you have to alter a lineup, but it doesn't mean you have to alter everything within the roster. It doesn't mean that you have to sit Jeremy Grant or Anthony Simons or any of those guys for the rest of the year or fake injuries or whatever it is. And you know what? You could still go out and have a focus of winning games. But I wouldn't mind a night where, you go out there and you're trying to win a game that, Scoot gets 38 minutes and Ant gets 26 just once, right? I think it's time to do that. I think if you did legwork like Joe Cronin said he did, there was deals to be done. They just didn't get done at the deadline, right? And if you did legwork to get some of those deals done, and Jeremy Grant and Anthony Simons were guys who were involved in that legwork, who you were trying to ship out possibly, then maybe it's time to just, let them continue to ride. They're just going to ride in the back seat for a minute. We're going to let Shaden drive and Scoot ride shotgun, so to speak, right? Or vice versa, right? It's just time to let that thing happen, man. Don't continue to cling on to one and still try to hope for the other. Just go all in and let coach just go with it, man. And I want to see what they can do. I think they can do good things, and I don't think it hurts anything. Because again, if you're still trying to play to win, which they've done on this stretch of games, right? You can still do that. I just think making a little bit of a mix to the starting lineup might be nice. And don't tell me you wouldn't be excited, Brendan, if you're watching a game and you come back from All-Star game, first game back against Luka, and it's Scoot, Shea, 2, Denny, DA starting 5.
No, I mean, I think you're spot on, Chris. I think something needing to, why a deal didn't happen at the deadline, that doesn't, like you said, mean that you can't still pivot more towards these last, 30-some games or what handful it is of the regular season. And, I think we've seen, Scoot needs to play a lot. Donovan Clingan needs to play a lot. Shaden Sharp, I'd maybe like to see him back in the starting lineup at some point. So,
Right.
I am in full support over here.
Okay, see, there you go.
That is a cold, hard fact, without a doubt.
In other Trailblazers news, the Trailblazers PR team just tweeted officially the updated injury report for the night, and Jeremy Grant, Chris Murray, and Robert Williams are all out. They were all listed as questionable. Right knee soreness for both Williams and Grant, left quad contusion for Murray. So you'll see, likely, you're going to probably see I would say, Ant Sharp, 2, Denny, and DA lineup tonight. Or we'll see what coach goes with. Again, make sure you're following our Trailblazers insider, Sean Hyken, who is on the road in Denver right now, because as soon as there is a update, he will be all over it on social media. All right, we're going to take a quick little break here. When we come back, it's time for our keys to the game. What do the Blazers have to do to get back on track? Not even saying just win the game, just get back on track in Denver. We will let you know when we come back on Blazers Game Day, presented by Coors Light, on your home of the Blazers, Rip City Radio 620. Welcome back into Blazers Game Day. It is time now for our keys to the game. One in the league in assists at 31.2. So the Blazers are going to have a tall task at stopping this Denver offense. So they need to be locked in defensively and make every single shot that Denver makes, every attempt that they have needs to be challenged. Nothing easy. You're going to run into situations where they hit them. It's going to happen, obviously, but you need to be at your absolute best defensively in this one. I mean, you go back to the win Portland got 126-124 over the Nuggets back on December 19th. And in that game, the Nuggets did all the things that they do well. They shot 54% from the floor. They shot 44% from beyond the arc. They had 35 assists. So how was Portland able to get the job done? Well, not only was Portland, doing whatever they could defensively, it wasn't stopping them, right? But offensively, they poured it in. All five starters in double figures. Denny Avdia with 19 off of the bench. They had 28 from Ant, 27 from Sharp, 15 from DA, 13 from Grant, 14 from Tumani Kamara. So it was one of those games where when the defense wasn't getting the stops they needed because the offense for Denver was so good, they got the offense clicking. And that was huge in that game. Absolutely huge, right? And it was, quite honestly, they needed it too. I mean, that fourth quarter, the Nuggets outscored them 37-22. So the comeback, right? It was in the works. But offensively, Portland got it going, and that's what they need to do in this one too. Lock in on the defense side, make it as hard as possible for Denver. You're never going to make it hard, right? Just make it as hard as possible for Denver. Again, this is the team top of the charts everywhere you go. Scoring, assists, the shooting percentage, tough to stop. So you're going to need your offense to find a way to get going. So it'd be interesting tonight where they go. Okay, we haven't seen the update yet as to what they're going with for a starting lineup, but Jeremy Grant not playing in this one. So you're going to likely put Denny Avdia and Tumani Kamara go into the two forward spots. And so who are you going to start alongside Ant? Is it going to be a Scoot with Ant at the 2 or Ant at the 1 with Shea at the 2, which is probably the more likely answer. But in this one, I would also like to see Scoot get out there a lot and get out there with that starting unit. Maybe you slide Ant over and get him to the 2. Get the ball in Scoot's hand. Let him run the offense a little bit because we've seen really good things out of him running the offense. Again, especially with DA out there. I've said this before. If you're going to bring Scoot off the bench, you still need to find ways to maximize the minutes he gets to play with DeAndre Ayton because they are the two best back-to-back. Actually, we do have an update on that. Sean Hyken, our Trailblazers insider, who is live in Denver right now, says that Scoot Henderson will start for Grant. So that means you're going to go with a Scoot, Ant, 2, Denny, and DA lineup tonight, which I like. I like that a lot. And again, allow Scoot to run that offense more than Ant. Get the ball out of Ant's hands, get it into Scoot's hands, let him run that pick and roll with DA. Find Ant open for threes, which is what he does well, right? And just maximize what you have out there in this situation. But if you can't get the offense going, then it's going to be an absolute long night because defensively, you're stopping Denver is almost impossible. It sounds stupid, but it's one of those nights where like we have to outscore them, right? Well, obviously, that's how you win a game is by scoring more than the other team. But no, you have to make sure that no matter what happens, you score more points than them. That's how you win this game. And I think you basketball heads will understand what I'm laying down in that. No duh, Burkhardt. Of course, they got to get more points. Yeah, but it's one of those games where that's the reason. Like you could sit there and you can win the games on defense. You can win the games for various reasons. You have got to make sure the offense is churning tonight. Churning. Otherwise, Denver's going to run away with it. And if they start to run away with it, I would love to see this team continue to battle, get back into it, get this game as close as possible. Because, again, I'm not worried about the wins or losses here. I'm just worried about just getting back to playing that basketball that we saw over that 11-game stretch. Because what you saw in Minnesota was nowhere close to that. So getting back to that is what you want to see. That's what we want to see. Get back to good basketball. What about you, Brendan? You got any keys to the game?
It seems to be whenever you play the Nuggets that you can let Joker get his and still win. So I'm just worried about the Nuggets ancillary players in this one. That's a key for me. Jokic's going to get his. He's going to make some crazy shots. He's going to make some crazy assists. But I think you can still win the game and still let Jokic get his. So that would be my key to the game, Chris.
You could. And that win that they had over the Nuggets at home, Nikola Jokic, 34 points, 6 rebounds, 8 assists. They got 16 points from Michael Porter, 24 points from Jamal Murray. Christian Braun had 13. Russell Westbrook had 19. And, of course, as of the latest update, Aaron Gordon and Jamal Murray were listed as probable on the Nuggets injury report. Michael Porter Jr. questionable with left hamstring tightness. Russell Westbrook, Peyton Watson, both out tonight. All right, that's going to do it for Blazers Game Day, but don't go anywhere. Coming up next across the Trailblazers audio network, Chad Doing will have your Trailblazers pregame show, and then Travis Demers will take over. He'll have the call, Blazers versus Nuggets, right here on Rip City Radio. Tip-off in just a little over an hour. And when it's all over, make sure you're staying locked in because we'll have the 5th quarter where hopefully Brendan and I are breaking down a Trailblazers victory. Rip City, we'll talk to you after this one.